Stop finishing my song. Stuff up. I'm just joking.
Oh,
Here are another top 10 of the alternate future versions of Superman. Let's get into it. At number 10, we have Superboy from Superboy Annual 1996. In a distant future, the Superboy mantle is taken up by a being named Quetzal, who comes from the planet Aztlan. And instead of the classic origin story, this future world gives the title of Superman to those selected as champions by the god Quetzalcoatl, which is basically a giant flying snake that seems to be based on an ancient religious text from Aztec culture. But that's just how Superman gets his name. Superboy is the apprentice to that champion known as Superman in this storyline. He's pretty short-lived, naturally only lasting the one annual issue, but he's got a cool new costume design and has a different cultural background than the Superboy we're used to, which is interesting to see. At number 9, we have Superman from Superman Man of Steel Annual 1996. Side note, in case you didn't already know, there was a crossover spanning through all of the DC annuals in 1996 called Legends of Dead Earth, which framed DC stories in a dystopian future. So it was a good year for a list like this. Regardless, in this future, a future version of Lex Luthor is leader of the Galactic Empire and is systematically destroying all planets that show potential to foster the birth of new Supermen. But as he's preparing to destroy a planet called Hydros, a rebel force moves onto the planet and saves its only remaining survivor, Cable. Once he leaves the planet, he's able to absorb the radiation from a nearby star and becomes the new Superman of that time. At number 8, we have All-Star Superman. Now, this Superman is part of a completely different continuation of that which comic book fans have been following. Known to generally take place around the pre-crisis continuity, this alternate continuation goes on into a distant future during the course of the 12-issue maxi series. And it follows the adventure of a Superman who is facing death at the hands of Lex Luthor, who gives him a fatal dose of solar radiation. And with his remaining time in existence, he decides to carry out a number of tasks, including creating Earth Q, which refers to the real timeline that we're used to, and repairing the sun as well, which he does by flying right into it, sacrificing himself in the process. This version of the hero is back to basics. He comes off as very simple and relaxed in his demeanor, without the burdens of past traumatic adventures from the current timeline. At number 7 is the Superman from Last Night on Earth. In this Elseworld future, the world is in a very dark place as a result of global warming, and Lex Luthor and Superman are debating over good and evil, with a very brutal consequence on the line. Opposing parties getting impaled by kryptonite, and the judges who choose the winner, all of humanity, of course. And although it appears that Superman has won the debate by the end, humanity chooses to make him, well, dead. The following events take place as a result of his death, and is largely considered more of the Batman storyline, but for a time there, we catch a glimpse of yet another futuristic version of Superman. One who chooses to use his word river, I guess. At number 6, we have Mon-El, aka Lar Grant, from the Legion of Superheroes. This guy is sort of veering towards being a knockoff version of Superman, since he's known to be a superhero inspired by Superboy, who is himself already a copy of Superman in a way. Either way, this futuristic version of the hero is actually vulnerable to lead instead of kryptonite, and is sent to the Phantom Zone by Superboy when he's fatally poisoned. Superman being poisoned in this list, I'm realizing. The future's not so bright. Either way, he's put into the Phantom
All of
Zone
my
for no
microphone
protection,
stuff is
but when
on.
a 30th century version of Brainiac, Brainiac 5, finds a cure to his poisoning, Mon-El returns, becomes a member of the Legion of Superheroes, and actually takes Superboy's place in his future timeline. At number 5, we have Superman from the House of El Future State storyline. This version of the hero has the exact same backstory that we're used to, being the last son of Krypton, all that jazz. But in this continuation, Superman is captured and has his powers stripped after being stabbed with kryptonite. He's then trapped by Mongul in one of his war worlds and forced to fight in a gladiatorial arena. Every time he dies, Mongul brings him back to life and forces him to fight again. Meanwhile, in the 30th century, a group of Superman's descendants create a new version of the House of El and rule over the cosmos, believing Superman has always been nothing but a myth. Sort of a sad story in reality, but don't worry, Superman does make a comeback in the end after his time as a gladiator. At number 4, we have the Superman from Superman versus Terminator. This one is pretty self-explanatory, and it's not considered to be an official part of the DC canon, as you can imagine. But it's still one of the cooler iterations of Superman, all things considered. Created by Alan Grant and Steve Pugh over at Dark Horse Comics, Superman versus the Terminator, Death to the Future, is just a fun read. When Skynet sends Terminators to find a young man named Connor in Metropolis, they're met with resistance they don't quite expect when none other than Superman shows up. The art style and storytelling matches up pretty darn well with the DC Comics, if you ask me, and I just felt like this version of the hero needed some love due to how unique his circumstances are. At number 3, we have Sixth Dimension Superman. Living in what appears to be a more advanced future, we're introduced to an older Justice League that's initially thought to be the Prime Earth Justice League, which seems plausible at first due to the way that they're dressed, among a few other things, but eventually we realize that it's just a futuristic version of the current Justice League. And with the team still being led by Superman, we assume that they've been continuing on with their typical crime-fighting business. But there's another twist that's soon revealed, which is that Superman is actually World Forger masquerading as Kryptonian. The real future Superman's whereabouts are unknown at the time, but World Forger looks and acts just like the real Superman, so I felt that he belonged on the list. Okay, fine, I mainly included him because it was cool costume design, but even in his short 10-issue run during Justice League Volume 4, he appears to be about as powerful as an aging, more wise, and practiced Superman might be. At number 2, we have Justice Lord Superman from Justice League Beyond. In this alternate future, Lex Luthor is president of the United States, and Superman is, at first, pretty much the same as the one we know. But when President Luthor executes the Flash, Superman storms the White House and confronts him. But after Luthor delivers this manipulative speech saying Superman has helped him become evil and it's a big, important counterpart to all his evil deeds, Superman is pushed over the edge and executes the president. This comes as a shock to Superman's allies, but it sets a new precedent for this futuristic team known as the Justice Lords. And moving forward, Justice Lord Superman by lobotomize with his laser vision. This storyline actually feels like a combination between Justice and the Dark Knight Rises, in that there's a morally questionable team being led by a twisted version of Superman, and then Batman decides he needs to stand up against Superman's destructive ways, except in this case, it all happens sometime in the distant future, fitting it nicely in the list. At number 1, we have John Kent from Future State. This is a fun one. Younger version of the hero who is the offspring of Superman and Lois Lane. The Future State event was released in 2021 and looked at what a potential future for the DC universe would and could look like. And alongside a handful of other new characters taking on the mantles of notable DC heroes, John Kent takes on the Superman mantle. There isn't much known about him quite yet, but at first glance he appears to have a more personal disposition. Possibly his half-human heritage gives him a bit more of an approachable energy, almost like Invincible. I'm looking forward to seeing how far John Kent goes in the comics and how they will develop a canonized story of how he ends up taking over for his father in the long run. Alright, that was the list. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment if there are any future Supermen that I've missed. I couldn't imagine there'd be any more than the 20 we've now uncovered, but, you know, you never know. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I've been your host, Ben Ball. You know the rest.
It's lagging again?
Yeah, I think I'm just about to turn the fucking game off and then just stream to Twitch without my overlay because it's just